Balaji says that we are not prepared for a total cyber war, in the same way as people in the First World War were not prepared for this kind of new type of warfare, like mechanized warfare. So they were like really like just like not ready for the 20th century. And I think we are again not ready for the 21st century, like with let's say some crucial services going down and being cut off during some kind of in some future case of some cyber warfare between, let's say, superpowers. Satellites might be shut down. I don't know. It's just like crazy things can happen. But one scenario is like what Balaji calls the cloud might burst, and it means kind of, and it will be raining DMs. So it's like...
Hello, welcome back to Mtambo's desk. My name is Mtambo, and the following is a conversation with Jakub Simek, a co-founder of Wezesha DAO and an author of Wisdom Enterprising. In today's episode, I'll be talking with Jakub Simek about his article, Privacy Over KYC, under the daily Balajisms series. And now, dear friends, here is Jakub Simek. Jakub, thank you so much for joining me again to Mtambo's desk podcast.
Hi, Duke. I'm happy to see you again.
Jakub, I recently came across your article that you wrote about Balaji Srinivasan and his thought on the current state of governments, big tech, and the future of privacy. Balaji talks about how today's government are like a combination of surveillance state and Keystone Kops. They collect all sorts of private information about citizens, but at the same time, they are not very good at securing that data, and they are often get hacked. And this is information is in the hands of criminals or adversaries. It can pose a threat to citizen offline security. Can you give us a quick random on Balaji's view on this topic?
Yeah, so it's like, hi, Dick. So Balaji says like we should kind of, have a strong moral justification and moral reasoning behind like every kind of innovation if we want to succeed, and especially like in this kind of with this kind of radical innovations like crypto that inverts premises, like that makes every user a root user, and has some kind of maybe strange properties compared to fiat currencies. Has a, like, for example, Bitcoin has a fixed money supply. It's kind of open, so you can actually track it. You can verify the transaction by looking at some blog explorer. And so it has many like properties that it's like a digital gold, for example, in the case of Bitcoin. But to kind of, this is something really new. Like, for example, another example in another case is like the SEC and like the security kind of laws, like that are quite outdated. They are, I don't know, a couple of decades, maybe it's like a century old, almost like a law, that maybe doesn't apply to like these new kind of new Web3 applications, and Web3 services that actually serve as an API. But like the larger point is like you shouldn't actually just like accept the old premises, let's say the KYC, meaning like know your customer, of the traditional banking. But you should like Balaji uses this metaphor. You should put the ball on the 100 yards, like I don't know. I guess it's from baseball. I don't understand the metaphor. Okay, but the point is like you shouldn't just accept. You shouldn't be put into corner and accept the old premises and the old narrative and kind of like having this like defensive kind of position, like just like trying to defend these kind of innovations. But you have to like have the proper counter arguments and know your history, you know, like that's what we discussed before. It's like you need to know history to be you need to write the history to be a winner. So
Yeah.
the winners write history, and this is like Balaji kind of inverts it or just like explains it differently. And so yeah, KYC, I mean, know your customer. I mean, it's great that banks are kind of trying to regulate or bad actors. It's important, but like yeah, privacy is actually crucial or more important, because like there are like some serious hacks, and there have been some serious hacks of governments and so like but when Balaji explains like this, like okay, it's like a combination of Stasi or some kind of surveillance state and Keystone Kops. It's just like some kind of thing US series, but like about some incompetent cops, you know. So like
Yeah.
if they hoover up all this data, you know, like about private citizens, you know, like and it's like it's being done en masse, so it's being like on a massive scale, like everybody's data end up somewhere in the cloud, and then when the cloud is hacked, then this is really bad for just normal private citizens, because let's say criminals can make some kind of order lists of people who, according to, I don't know, their property, their bank balances or something like that, and it's really, really bad. I mean, and people are not aware of it, of these hacks. Maybe they don't get so much publicity, but they will become more prominent. So because Balaji says that we are not prepared for a total cyber war, you know, in the same way as people in the First World War were not prepared for this kind of new type of warfare, like mechanized warfare. So they were like really like just like not ready for the 20th century, and I think we are again not ready for the 21st century, like with let's say some crucial services going down and being cut off during some kind of in some future case of some cyber warfare between, let's say, superpowers. You know, satellites might be shut down. I don't know. It's just like crazy things can happen. But one scenario is like what Balaji calls the cloud might burst, and it means kind of, and it will be raining DMs. So it's like your private messages. Imagine, let's say, your
That's
Facebook
funny.
messages or WhatsApp or Twitter messages, and they're like searchable. So people can like search like what, I don't know, if somebody is cheating on someone else, you know. And it's like also and so just like maybe to conclude, like even like with Twitter files, you know, and you discussed it with a couple of guests on the pod as well, like with Twitter files, you know, people realize that actually, you know, it's this Web2 architecture is like, you know, it's just like a hub and spoke, and meaning like there is this hub, and when you are discussing, let's say me and you are discussing on WhatsApp, and okay, they say it's like encrypted end-to-end encrypted, but you have to trust them, you know. But like how it's actually being done, it's like we are like discussing on their server, and especially with Twitter files, you could see that those like rando employees had access to, I don't know, to those DMs, you know. They can check the person, and they see all their messages, you know, like so
it's true. I think I agree with you. And in terms of the cyber war, you know, because people even most people didn't expect, you know, like for example, COVID-19 to happen. You know, yes, there was some speculation by say Bill Gates at some point to say that there will be a virus which will be, you know, very bad, but there's somebody I was reading somewhere, they were saying like the cyber war will be something worse than even the pandemic that we're experiencing now in the coming maybe years. Yeah, as you mentioned, maybe in the 24th century.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, also like the pandemic, it's kind of was kind of strange because in a way that okay, it affected like older people, and so let's say also maybe Eastern, like the countries in the East took it more seriously because they have like older populations maybe, but they also have like a different attitude towards elders than let's say in the West. I mean, and so if it was like a Spanish flu like 100 years ago, and that was like predominantly killing like young people, I think people would also take the pandemics a bit more seriously. But still, I mean, and also like there are like some groups of people, or some people are like have like are more susceptible to the virus than others, so it's like some people were like resentful, like why, like I'm a fit person, let's say in my 20s or 30s, and I do like I regularly exercise, and now I'm under lockdown and I can't go anywhere, I can't go exercising or something. So there were like lots of like pissed people, and then there were also some young people, like I don't know, some scientists or doctors. Like there was like this guy from China, like some early cases, and he was like in his 30s and he died, so it's like,
yeah.
but overall it was like 10 million people, okay, probably something like on this order of magnitude. Like 10 million people died, maybe directly or indirectly, because of the pandemics. And with the Spanish flu, it was like 100 million people, and mostly young people. So it was like, I don't know, 10 times worse.
Yeah, and you
with
remember
like
even that, and that time the population was not that big. So if you
exactly.
just compare in terms of percentage, that time it affected more
Yeah,
people than.
yeah, that's very good point. Actually, I haven't like thought about it. Like, yeah, but this is a very good point. Yeah, that it was like much worse than 10 times, maybe. I don't know. It was like, I don't know. Yeah, worse, like 20, 30 or something times worse. Yeah. So, so therefore, like it was maybe strange. The word strange doesn't suit here, but it is like complex or complicated. Many people have actually different views on COVID-19, and actually they might be correct from their like personal experiences or their surroundings. Yeah, it might be very serious for some people, and for some people not so serious, or they might be just resentful. And and cyber warfare might be something similar. Like some people take it seriously when yeah, I don't know, when they're canceled, deplatformed, or let's say when they're hacked, and then some other people might say like, okay, but you have nothing to hide, or but like but when there is some like really major event, like let's say, I don't know, like some government services or online services are shut down, or when because of some cyber war scenario, or cables are being cut down. It's like a hybrid warfare, so it's not just cyber, but you can have some internet cables being cut down, satellites being shut down, but also like these like DMs raining down, or like banks being hacked, or some other institutions. That's also not good. And of course, when it crosses the digital to physical kind of bridge, it's like with the drones, like drones and some drone armadas and something. So that would be like really serious,
Very scary.
And of course, yeah. And then you have also like these yeah, I mean, yeah, like with let's say the polarization, or let's say the Twitter maximalism, you can have like populations being like kind of radicalized, and let's say demanding more and more action from politicians, but sometimes it might go overboard, and then you are having the risk of, let's say, nuclear exchange like rising or something like that. So, and then this is again like this could be like the scenario, it's like, it could be like, again, orders of magnitude, more people could die. It could be like even 10 times worse in terms of casualties, let's say, than the second World War. Or you could have like like a nuclear winter where let's say on the northern hemisphere, or you would not get food for 2 years or something like that. So it's I mean, some crazy scenarios are possible. It's not like if it didn't happen, it can't happen. But okay, but back to the topic of KYC and privacy. It's like I mean, there are some regular or like big hacks, let's say hacks in the US. Like one is called Opium, I think, I don't know, a couple of years ago, where the government services are being targeted, and you don't know who will end up with the data. It could be like some adversary countries of the US, let's say China or Russia. And so basically KYC, okay, it's like it might be an outdated regulation or something in this world. And you might want some smart regulation. Like it doesn't mean that it should be like no regulation, but it might be based on like some like selective or disclosure of some information by the users themselves. Like we discussed like the zero knowledge, and some kind of like you could prove, for example, your crypto credentials, or just like partially disclose your information. It doesn't need to be like, why you need to, like, let's say you do some like you're earning money on internet, let's say, and it's why everybody needs to know your address. It's very kind of sensitive information, let's say, for exactly for these purposes. If these services get hacked, like, people get like like an order list, let's say, of who owns what, who has like what kind of balance in the bank, and their addresses. It's not good. It's not
it's
good.
scary.
So it's quite scary. So I mean, you have alternatives to this, and crypto, it's like
could solve the problem.
It solves the problem, definitely, for
But now crypto, like, let's say Bitcoin and other crypto are not CBDC, because CBDC is also is kind of a surveillance coin, and you can be censored just because the government doesn't like you, or you just talk maybe you're not in the same ideology with the government, and they can decide to freeze your account. So I think maybe we need to stress that, to stress it out, that it's the Bitcoin or crypto, to be specific, not the CBDC.
I mean, it's good. You could I think we discussed it before, but you could have like the centralized and decentralized version of, like, let's say, crypto, or as well as AI, as well as social media. So it's like crypto, AI, social, like the three important technologies that also Balaji discusses a lot. And so you could have like a centralized or more centralized crypto, and more decentralized crypto. But it's true. Like, I mean, when people discuss crypto, they usually mean like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or some other protocols like that are more or less decentralized. And we also discussed before, like, there is this Nakamoto coefficient that actually Balaji came up with, which kind of measures the decentralization in like 5 different areas. So it could be like miners, or holders, or developers. So it's like, it's like looking for some choke points or some bottlenecks, and like trying to like work out like which should get the most priority. So Nakamoto coefficient, yeah. But okay, CBDCs, yeah. I mean, there is of course this risk that you are tracked, like every purchase, it's like every, I don't know, transaction. Yeah, according to your behavior, your maybe even shopping patterns or your ideology or something, or your posts online, you can, yeah, probably you can be unbanked. But even the CBDC might have actually some nice features over just fiat, just like the digital version of fiat in your bank, so like let's say it could be like on your device, so it's not like just like again on a server in the bank and you're just like doing the internet banking and like connecting to the bank, but it's like on your phone, so you could have the even the centralized like CBDC crypto on the phone, you could pay instantly probably, or there could be like yeah, it's much faster. It could be like I guess lower fees. It could be international transactions are much faster, and also like CBDCs will come. At least this is like Pipa. It's like Dr. Pipa. I forgot her the second name. It's something like Malgamen, something like that. So it sounds like Scandinavian name, but she was an advisor to George Bush, and she writes like quite nice blog posts. Dr. Pipa, I think if you Google her, and she also wrote about CBDCs, so it will be like an airdrop, So like okay, I mean, it's like a carrot and stick, So probably you will get like, I don't know, €100 or something, or $1,000 in the US, maybe, I don't know, in our countries might be a bit less, but you get some money, and then there are some strings attached to it, probably like, I don't know, that you get, let's say, €100, but you have to you have to allow this kind of tracking of your consumer behavior or something like that. So it won't be just like at least that's how she presents it, like so. And then let's say I think this will be also like how the digital yuan will try to compete against dollar and euro. And we discussed it before, but like, yeah, digital yuan is like maybe 2.5%, has a 2.5% of the global payments share. US dollar has like 45 or 42, sorry, euro has like 35%. But this digital yuan, like a CBDC might actually grow quite fast. It might quite challenge both the dollar and the euro. So Balaji thinks that dollar probably the Fed or something, they will not come with their own CBDC, but they might use something like USDC, USD coin that actually Balaji helped to launch at Coinbase. So they might do something like that,
But of course, now also like for example, they might need, for example, to control that USDC, so that it's kind of on their own coin. They will not allow maybe it to be on a decentralized, maybe say for example chain, but maybe on a for example centralized exchange.
I mean, they might do some, yeah, they might cause some trouble, but the question is if they can like execute in a way, like if they can like develop, let's say, their new alternative, or what are the workarounds, like yeah, it's probably the centralized exchanges might get challenged, but like you can hold these kind of stable coins locally, so then yeah, I mean, in your wallet or something. So like yeah, but if they are let's say on a centralized as we call it, sex, so centralized exchange, and not we, but like some people, like it's just funny, DEX versus sex,
yeah.
With C, not S, yeah. So Yeah, so that might get challenging, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jakub, that's a great point. But also, Balaji says that only crypto-friendly jurisdictions will be able to attract the best cybersecurity talent to defend themselves. We have already seen this happening in Ukraine, where various state-affiliated organizations started accepting cryptocurrency donation after the Russian invasion and were able to raise more than $60 million.
Yes, I mean it kind of proves that crypto is onto something. You know, it's not just like people on Twitter screaming, but like it's well, it's like an important community. You know, it's something like, okay, the Y Combinator in 2005, and then the startup community or something in the early 2010s or something was like the cool thing, and now the crypto or Web3, it's like the where the tech talent is focusing, because there are many unsolved problems yet, or you know, it needs a lot of scaling, a lot of talent, um, and Balaji explains it quite interestingly that crypto is producing cybersecurity veterans, you know, because of the incentives. Basically, the incentives are that there are like loads of like some, you know, big amounts of money somewhere, like in some smart contract or in some, you know, it's in some project, and if you hack that project or that smart contract, yeah, you can get the money. So it's like incentive, it's like a clear incentive for hackers to attack these kind of projects, where and take and get the immediate reward. So it kind of creates this cycle where you know, these protocols and are constantly hacked, and therefore like people need to, you know, they get the workout, the you know, they get the constant workout, you know. So therefore like the it's a bit different, let's say, from the government, like cyber security experts or something, because they don't get this kind of immediate feedback, you know. Like usually the hackers might just like get somewhere, and they don't you don't know that they got into, you know, they might be just like lurking there, like waiting there to, I don't know, to use this kind of exploit later on. But with Web3 and with crypto, the hackers have the very strong incentive to immediately take take that money if they hack it, you know. So therefore they expose themselves, I mean, expose that they hacked something, you know. So it's being you know, it's like the feedback or the OODA loop, you know, the feedback cycle is much faster. It's also like connected to what Taleb is talking with anti-fragility, you know. It's like yeah, anti-fragility kind of means that you are being exposed, you know, often to like some small stress, yeah, a lot of small kind of stressors and stress, you know, like not too big that you are like kind of totally wiped out, but like I don't know, even like if you listen to the Network State podcast, you know, Balaji has a new podcast, the Network State podcast, and the first episode was with Vitalik, and he explained there like yeah, some stories like about some attacker, some hacker that like try to, like, I don't know, ruin their conference by like hacking something like 2 hours or 3 hours before some conference in Shanghai, I think, or somewhere in China. Yeah, and then the guy, or who was, or the collective, I don't know, that hacker like hacked them, like, I don't know, like tried, I don't know, it was like a couple of like 30 times or something. Like they had to like constantly do something to improve these bugs, to remove these bugs, debug some, because it was like quite smart and dedicated person that tried to do a lot of harm. And you know, and if you get this kind of workouts on a regular basis, then it kind of means that, yeah, I mean, these people become like cyber security veterans, and it means that Yeah, I mean, if you are serious as a country and you know that the warfare goes towards, let's say, more drones, and then, as Balaji says, you realize that actually these hackers are upstream of drones, so that because they can hack the drones, you know, and they also need to protect, like you need some cybersecurity personnel and experts to protect those drones as well, and all your systems. And so if you want to have like these world-class or experts in cybersecurity, you should be a crypto-friendly destination. That's like Balaji's point here.
And that's where Balaji concept of pseudonymous economy comes in. He believes that a true global and meritocratic economy where people can earn crypto and only disclose the information needed to get the job is the future.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like a big unsolved problem on the internet, the payouts, you know, so you are like paying in, let's say buying something online, but many people bought like 1,000 times something online, but they were not paid in, you know, usually you get like, I don't know, you get salary by your employer, or maybe somebody sends you some money, okay, when you sell something, but it's maybe not even that, you know, you do it in cash or something when you sell on some kind of online kind of things, like you sell some old stuff, and I don't know, it's just like okay, maybe in Kenya actually might be different because of M-Pesa.
Yeah.
But at least this was like Balaji's point in the US. You know, you don't give your like bank details that often online. You know, like people don't know how to pay you. You know, it's like kind of unsolved problem that crypto and pseudonymous economy will solve. So, and the glimpse of this future is, let's say, crypto bound. Probably they're not crypto yet, but the bounties on Replit.
Yeah.
That are modeled after crypto tasks of Balaji at 1729 and before at earn.com, you know, and so it's basically, yeah, I mean, you have some crypto credentials that I'm just like kind of how the future, I'm explaining how the future might look like. So you have some crypto credentials, let's say, because you did some kind of online course, or you have some, you've proven with some with your portfolio of your projects that, let's say, you can code in this language, and yeah, let's say you did some online test or something like that, you get some crypto credential, let's say that it's valid only for certain months or certain years, and then that's like a filter, you know, then like with this crypto credential, let's say you can log in to see some like feed of tasks that are just suitable for you because you are holding these crypto credentials. So it's like something like, I don't know, instead of a degree, like a university degree, you know, like Balaji elsewhere talks about like how a university degree is something like, let's say, 2000, you have to complete 2000 tasks or 2000 exercises or some like school projects or something to get the final degree. Let's say at university, but like with these crypto credentials, it's like, yeah, it's like micro, or it's like nano degrees, you know.
Yeah.
But it's but actually, but the good thing about it is like you can work immediately with it, you know. So you don't need to, like, I don't know, study for 5 years to start earning, but you can start earning, like, let's say in a month, you know, after completing, or or even after a week, you know. And sorry, but it's just like related to this, like there is this story, and we discussed it before, but like I checked it, like I finally found the linkers. There is this 6-year-old kid who from India who did like he's like a certified Microsoft Office specialist, which is like, okay, that's cute, but it's still, but then he's also like, then he went further, you know, like I think once he got the micro MS Office certificate, then he was like, okay, so he got like Azure AI certificate, like also from Microsoft. Then there is some power platform or something, so he's like 3 certificates from Microsoft. And actually he's like a code influencer on Replit and has like, I don't know, many like 1,000 followers or something. It's like a 6-year-old kid from
Yeah.
India, you know, and like yeah, and yeah, and similar people like these, like, okay, maybe if you are like 12 years old or 15 or something, and you could like, I don't know, just like get into some kind of competition and like for some like bounties, like in coding competition or something, and get the prize, you know. That's like kind of like the maybe the image of the pseudonymous economy. So it's like Balaji basically talks about skilled tasking. So one thing is like payouts are not a solved problem, like because crypto is like a global, it's like email, you know, it's global protocol. So it's not like, let's say, the bank accounts have different formats for different countries, and it's like a mess. And if you make a mistake there, you have to pay like, I don't know, 50 euros for the transfer to return and to pay the gain, something like, you know. So and of course, like with crypto, you are the root user, so you can also lose like all your money, and you can call Satoshi like, please, can you return my transfer? But on the other hand, it's like a global protocol. It's like email, so the email address looks the same, you know, like it's not like there is some format for emails for Kenya and Slovakia and the US, but it's the same format. And with crypto, it's the same. So you have like your wallet, you have your address, and let's say for some kind of like coding tasks, it's very suitable. And skilled tasking is not solved yet, because like there are these like many of these business processing organizations, BPO, like this offshoring or impact sourcing. I think we were discussing it before, but many of these kind of tasks are like low skilled or medium skilled, kind of, you know, like, let's say, like tagging some pictures of like is this a cat or dog, you know, for AI, these kind of tasks, like but which are fine, but for like highly skilled tasking, like, let's say, coding, it's still also an unsolved problem. Maybe it will be solved like by Replit, or I mean it's already being solved, because there are like these bounties that are kind of took off over a couple of months. But okay, yeah. So that's an example where the pseudonymous economy, it's just like kind of concrete example, because often when we discuss these Balajisms, it's kind of sounds like it's like a sci-fi, you know, in 5 years maybe it will be there, but then you realize, okay, maybe it's not 5 years, but it's just 5 months and it's already here. Yeah, but let's say on Replit you can be pseudonymous, and you could get paid by with Bitcoin Lightning, and the KYC, know your customer, kicks in only after you earn, let's say, 10,000 euros or dollars. And if I'm correct, I know they wanted to lower the threshold to $600, I think, but like before, I think it was like 10,000. And so, but then there are also some, you could get creative with it, and there are some also like some third-party kind of services that could actually do the KYC for you, but you could still kind of be anonymous for for the company, or I mean for like not just the company, but like for the outside world. So it, you know, you you can combine, it's like the thesis, antithesis, synthesis, but the core message here is like that KYC might be outdated for this world, and
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that regulation is bad. Then all you need is just deregulation. But it's like smart regulation is better. You know, like you
Yeah.
could. Smart regulation is something like, let's say, Uber versus taxi medallion. So Uber is like tracking you each second, and the taxi inspection, the Fiat version, like it was like once a year, you know. And so also Uber is trying to kick out the bad actors, like meaning like some fraudsters or you know. But and gives rating to both the drivers and the users. So and you have these like examples that like the two-sided marketplaces, and what you want is like a choice between smart regulators, but you don't want like global harmonization where let's say many people are kept away from these services because maybe they might not have an ID, you know, in many countries, you know, or they might not have a like a proper address in a proper format, and you know how much pain it is to do this KYC, and it takes a long time, and you lose your
I don't
mobile
like
phone,
it.
you have to do it again. I mean, it's really
I don't like
really
it.
sad, you know. It I mean, it probably could be done by like in a smarter way by some other services, like I don't know, probably Facebook or Twitter or something knows you better, you know, than just like with this kind of older process, you know, like
I think for me, I don't support the KYC. I think they make it to become very hard, you know, and not user friendly, because at some point, I'm sorry to say it, but I had to fake some document, you know, the bank statement to put, like, for example, the address, you know, sometimes the bank statement doesn't come up, do not come with for example, the address on top, you know, for example. So I have to edit that document, that PDF, and put the address so that it fits their requirements for the KYC for them to approve it, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's not, I think it will become obsolete, very soon. And
I mean, that's another thing. So like one reason that we discussed was like, okay, there are many times these like state regulators are hoovering all these like data about private citizens, and then they can't keep them secure because, let's say, some hackers, even like from adversary countries, enemy countries, or adversaries are can get hold of this data, and then they can, or criminals can use this data. So then we also talked about like how this KYC might keep the many people like from accessing this, or like let's say tasking services, or like accessing global economy on internet, like earning on internet, let's say from India or Kenya or anywhere in the world, you know, South America. Some people might not have, as you said, like let's say some services, you know, like I don't know, some receipts from I don't know, you need like to provide, let's say, the proof of your address, you know. For some people it might be a problem. Let's say they don't have it like on some kind of electricity bill, or like they don't have 3 different bills if you need it. So that's like one problem. So they can't keep the data secure. Then there is this issue of global meritocracy, you know, like why let's say some young people or even kids like from places like India or Kenya, why can't they join some global competitions like coding competitions and get the money? You know, they can get paid in crypto, and they don't need to maybe they even don't have the bank account, you know, or maybe because they also don't have the ID, or it can happen, and this like crypto solves this. And then another issue, of course, this is maybe more related to, I don't know, older people who are like public or speaking in public, maybe even mostly, not mostly, but it's in every country, not just in the West, but you get this like especially in Anglo-Saxon countries, you have this woke kind of phenomenon. It's because it's kind of like a Protestant or the US phenomenon that appears like every 50 years or something. So, and you get these online mobs and people being canceled, and especially like more conservative people, but even classical liberals. And then you get some like strange kind of new things like internal sanctions, let's say, against these like Canadian trackers. They were protesting these lockdowns or like this kind of like some kind of mandates, like vaccine mandates. Usually they were even vaccinated, so but they like were protesting it like on some kind of principled grounds, or on just on the it was like on some ideological grounds. But anyhow, they were just like protesting, but then their like some of their accounts, like the personal bank accounts, got frozen, so and then they used like Bitcoin for the workaround, but also the Bitcoin can get tracked, So you have also like other, like, I don't know, like Zcash and other services, and which have like an interesting property that it's not like the individual transactions are not like private, meaning but the privacy is like a public good. As also Balaji talks about it recently. It's nice because those transactions are bundled, like, I don't know, they're like, if it's 20 transactions, I don't remember actually. I should check it up, the exact number. But it's like, it's like, so you're kind of the community provides your privacy. It's not like individual, but it's like public or collective good. It's not, no, maybe not public, but it's like collective good. So you can be private when you have your community around that provides that kind of that crowd to blend in. So like, you are paying your transactions, but it gets bundled with other some other transactions, so therefore you remain like private, let's say, with services like Zcash or something like that. So that's another example. So the Canadian trackers and being unbanked, so like, was actually quite recent. It was like a year ago or something. It was like a year ago, and it's like another use case for this. And of course, like the most important thing that we didn't mention, but it's like, this KYC doesn't prevent organized crime from money laundering. Like you have like the banks like the HSBC that had these problems a couple of times. I think it wasn't just like once, and they, it was like it was like $1 billion being laundered through like the one bank, and you have many like cases like this. There was Danske Bank, there was like, I think, Deutsche Bank. There were many banks like that, and like for some like serious, it's not like some, let's say, some random person who just like, I don't know, does something small, or like is some kind of tries to like escape some taxation or something like that. But it's like some really, really, really serious organized crime, money laundering, like hundreds of millions, if not billions dollars, like being laundered again and again, through like legacy institutions, and actually with like very prestigious like names. So I mean, it happens. So so they're not like these kind of smart regulators, like as they should be. They're kind of like making it hard, giving hard time for the little man, for the just like a regular person, like who, I don't know, who wants to buy 20 euros of Bitcoin on some kind of centralized exchange or something like that, and they give him or her a hard time. People have to wait like a couple of days just to get get approved, and then even some strange things, you send some small money and then it should take like even like through let's say TransferWise and M-Pesa, it should take like 15 minutes or something like that, and it takes 2 days because of some KYC kicks in, and it's even like small money, and then for these hundreds of billions of dollars, not billions, let's say hundreds of millions of dollars, like of money laundering, like for some like organized crime, it's like, and it kind of goes undetected. So I don't know. Yeah. It's just like it's really strange. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting. Jakub, thank you for joining me again at Mtambo's Desk podcast and for sharing these interesting ideas on privacy over KYC.
Thanks, Dirk. It was great talking to you.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed listening to Mtambo Desk podcast, don't forget to subscribe, give this episode a thumbs up, and be sure to come back next week for another episode. Until then, this is Duke Mtambo, and don't forget to do good always.